Brent here with Bring Your Own Tools. On today's episode, if you want to see how we changed this one-seater from this to this, yeah, that looks a lot more comfortable. We'll keep on watching. Let's get started.
Okay, so here's the rub. I have Kona. This is Kona. He's 80 pounds and he's a large dog, and this is a small little truck. I love this truck. It's my baby and I've had it for over a decade, but it is pretty small, especially for this guy, and he can't really lay down in a small little bucket seat, so let's try and actually help him out with that.
Now, what really makes this project unique is that we are going to be making our own tick stick, or preferably called a ticking stick or a tick sticking. I've seen a number of different ways that it's actually pronounced, but in any case, this is a instrument that you actually create yourself, and with this one device, you're able to replicate a plethora of very unique shapes, even rounded shapes. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm making a unique random pattern. Now, yours can be this type of pattern, or it can be something completely different than this, but as long as it's differentiated with different types of transition points, as you can see right here, it will generally do the same thing. Now, this tick stick is 18 inches long, and that is preferable based upon what I'm going to be cutting and using it for, but it can be any type of length that you want. I take my tick stick over to my chop saw and just remove all the excess material, as well as cutting the correct dimensions for the tick stick. Now, just be careful, especially when you're working with a small piece like this, because number one thing when working with a chop saw is safety. But once you have the shape cut out, I then take it over to my oscillating spindle sander and just sand up the edges. Now, don't worry if you don't have one of these, because you can always just use generic sandpaper, but with this, it tends to make life a little bit easier, which I can always appreciate. Now, I've been in the construction industry for over 2 decades, and I have never once heard of this type of instrument, which is why I have to give full credit to Leah at seejanedrill. Leah, what is this?
Well, I gotta tell you, it's a tick stick, and you made it yourself, okay? As you can see, clearly, it's a handmade tool. But what I will tell you is, okay, it has saved my hiney many times. This is the kind of tool you make yourself, all right? And if you're working with an irregular shape that you've got to reproduce, this is the tool you want to use, Brad, right here, the tick stick.
Thank you, Leah. And if anyone is so inclined to see BYOT featured on her channel, we did a recent field trip to my 3 favorite places to purchase wood and lumber, so check that one out as well. Now, as you can see, the next step here is actually taking a scrap piece of wood and applying some generic construction paper to it. Now, it obviously doesn't have to be construction paper. It can be any type of product or material that you can write on, but then also be able to transfer that paper to the final material. Now, the beauty about this tool is that all you have to do is take one of the ends and position it where you want to cut the material off. Then you go ahead and just transfer the position of the tick stick on the paper and trace around it. That way you have the exact location of that corner. You do that in every single corner that you need to, and continuously transfer that line all the way across. Now, the beauty about the system is that you can have pinpoint accuracy without needing a tape measure at any point in this entire setup. Now, the fact that I'm able to get into every single little crevice that I need to and know that that's the exact pinpoint positioning that I need to be at is incredible with a tool that I literally made myself in 5 minutes. It's pretty amazing. Now, I still want access to my cup holder as well as my mechanical window rollers. Yeah, I know I still have those. It shows you how old this truck is. But I do want access to them even if the dog bed is there. So therefore, I position my tick stick accordingly. The nice thing about this scrap piece of wood is that it's the same size as the board that I'll be cutting afterwards. So I want to salvage and keep the straight edge on the back side as well as the side that's going to be facing me. And therefore I draw a few more traces of the tick stick in those locations, and that way I'm able to transfer those positions correctly. Now I know this looks like chicken scratch to you, but the beauty about this is that that's really is what it's supposed to look like. I take that piece of paper and position it exactly where it needs to be, utilizing the tick stick placements that I had for the corner as well as the side there. Now with that tick stick placement, I'm able to then align exactly where the paper needs to be placed, and then I can start dotting my dots. Dotting my dots? Yeah, well, you'll get the drift here shortly. Yes, when I say dotting my dots, I mean literally taking a Sharpie and dotting the endpoint of where that position is. Now that's the beauty of this tick stick placement, is that all I'm doing is positioning the tick stick where the trace outline was, and then making a nice little dot on the corner right there. That way I'm able to transfer that positioning exactly where I need it to be after I connect all my dots. Now after I have all my dot placements located, I then take the bottom side of the tick stick and trace and connect every single dot. Yes, it's that easy. Now you can do this with a level or any other straight object, but why not use your trusty tick stick to help you in this application as well. Now once you have all the lines fully traced out, I then just take my jigsaw and just remove all the excess material. Now the beauty about this is that with this board it's not super complicated, but it gave me exact dimensions as you can see, which is why it fit perfectly the first time for that location. And the door really did shut correctly the first time. Now that I know the board is measured correctly, we can now make it a cushion. And of course, to make a cushion, we need some foam padding, some felt, as well as some contact adhesive spray. Now for this project, we are using DAP Weldwood contact cement, and the beauty about this product is that all you need to do is apply it to both sides with an even coverage, let it dry for approximately 5 to 10 minutes, and then when both sides are fully dry, you can go ahead and lay them on top of each other. Just make sure you are positioning them exactly where they want, because it is contact cement for a reason, because once these two sides of adhesive stick to each other, they are quite a permanent bond. I mean, it's not fully permanent, but it's fairly close, and you'd probably just be ripping apart the cushion if you didn't do it right the first time. Now once these two sides touch each other, you really don't have to worry about this going anywhere because it's solid as a rock. I just want to make sure I press down to have good even coverage over the entire surface. I then flip over the board, and then with a very nice, very sharp razor, I cut away the excess. Now you can use any type of razor you so want and choose, but inevitably just make sure it's a crisp, clean, new razor because it just makes life a little bit easier. Now I'm not a seamstress, and I've really never done much upholstery other than BYOT number 39 where I reupholstered a chair, but the one tool that I purchased when I was doing that project was a staple gun, and I love using the staple gun. If you haven't used one before, they're very satisfying, and you could shoot so many staples into something so quickly, and it really makes your life a lot easier when you have this type of staple gun with an air compressor. So keep that in mind with any type of upholstery project. Maybe you don't do a lot of upholstery, but this could come in handy in a number of different applications. And just like any of the tools that I feature and stand behind on this channel, I'll leave links in the description box below on where to actually purchase them, because I am an Amazon affiliate, and any items that you purchase do help the channel and are greatly appreciated by yours truly. Now, of course, now that we have everything securely fastened, we go ahead and test fit it. Now, this is truly the first time I'm actually closing this door, and guess what? Look at that fit. Quite perfect. The one thing I did notice though is that it is not supported correctly on the front side, so therefore I measured it. I cut a 4x4 post just to make sure I had good support on that front end, but once I had that, I positioned it correctly underneath the seat, and guess what? Sturdy as a rock. So you know that I approve and I love this thing, but let's test it out with Dad's co-pilot, Kona. Get in here, test it out. Oh boy, I bet you like it. Let's take it for a test drive. Now Now, I can't personally speak for Kona, but if he could speak, I'd say, man, Dad, that is one beautiful, sexy beast. Oh yeah. It really is a nice feature between how comfortable it is. I have access to all of my stick shifting. I also have access to here, as well as even have the ability to roll down the window still. And that is very nice because, one, it's functional, two, it looks nice and clean and fits perfectly thanks to the tick stick. Woo!
And there you have it, episode number 65 of BYOT fully completed. And as you can see, I think he likes it, and I think he'll like it for years to come, especially if he's hanging out with Dad, right? In any case, thank you for your time. Please like the video, please subscribe to this channel, and please check out my Instagram feed and my newly developed website at BYOTools.me. You can learn how to support the channel from there. In any case, thank you for your time. Catch you next time. Like for years and years to come. But in any case, thank you for your time. Come on. Really? Really? Can you sit down? Come on. Sit down. Down. Do I need to get treats? Come on. You've been a good boy. Come on. Down. Working with animals these days, just really, really tough.